bellows are here, right? So we're not putting them up here. But
Blacksmithing in the 18th century was an essential trade. The working of hot iron into tools and other implements, whether it's used in the house or out on the farm, it just had to be done. And in a frontier setting like this, a blacksmith was essential to any small group of farmsteads, homesteads, and small towns that sprang up. They had to have a blacksmith to make their own tools and to fix the tools that they had. So we're going to be making a small blacksmith shop so that we can repair our tools right here on this homestead. And to begin that blacksmith shop, we need to have one of those essential pieces. That's a set of bellows. We need forced air. Without forced air, you cannot do blacksmithing. So we're gonna be making a set of bellows. We've got our set of 19th century bellows that I drove up to Wisconsin to get. Make sure to check out that video where we go up and talk about those bellows. This set of bellows, it's too big for what we need. We need something that's about half that size. So we're gonna be making all the different pieces for that today and fitting them together. We'll see if we can get these bellows done.
Now let's go over the pieces for the bellows. We have the top and the bottom, and they're going to go like this. Now we have the hoop, and this will go in between, and this will keep the leather from bunching up on the inside so it'll operate smoothly. And the leather that we have here, it's a greased leather, and that'll go around the outside of it to seal it up. This will be our nozzle block. It's got a hole in it, and we're going to carve that out so that our metal nozzle will slide all the way through. So when all these pieces are operating together, it'll force the air through here into our fire. So we still need to make the centerpiece that will go in between these two. And that centerpiece will also have a hole in here, and it'll have a valve. Now both of these are going to act like a one-way, and it'll all be sealed up with leather so that air will go in, but it won't go back out, and it'll compress as much air as possible through that nozzle to make that fire burn super hot.
We're gonna take this section of log, turn it into a nozzle just like this one. It's gonna be one whole piece of wood. It's pretty soft here, so it should go pretty easy.
We have our center board fully assembled. Now we have the axle that's going to be rounded on each side, and this is actually going to hold the whole weight of the bellows. If you remember from the original, it had the two pins that were sticking out from the side. So this will give us a good sturdy support.
Our front nozzle piece, the wooden part, looks really good. We got a nice size opening at the back. The front with its metal nozzle fits almost perfectly. We really couldn't get it any better than that. So now we're going to square this guy up so that it's very similar to this one. And then the tricky part is what's happening in the back part. Now, I originally looked at this and thought, it's just cut off square and everything is sort of hinged to it. But it's not that simple. There's a notch cut for the top and the bottom so that it fits in there. There's a little notch cut for this floater that's in the top third. And this bottom third board is fixed rigidly to the nozzle, so there's a large shelf that sticks out so that it can fit on there firmly. Oh yeah. Yeah, those two sides. Hey, look at that. It's beautiful. So our nozzle block is all notched and ready to go. And this is really where it all comes together. I mean, not only where the air comes together, but what all the parts affix to, basically. So we got our metal nozzle already in place. We've got our notches, and let's put this all together for you without the leather so you can see what's happening. Here's our bottom board. It's already set into its notch. And we've got even not all set into place yet, but you can see this is our valve for the bottom. So here is our next layer. This one, instead of it being flexible, this is going to be fixed. We're going to bolt this or nail this down to this nozzle block. That doesn't flex at all. Now we have just this inner hoop, and this inner hoop will just hold the leather in place. It will have a little leather hinge to it, but all it does is keep that leather from sucking in or blowing out too much. And then we have our top plate, or our top level here, and that's going to set on this little rabbit notch. And there you go. That's what it's going to look like without the leather, so we can kind of see what all the inner workings are. Now we just have to start putting these hinges together, fasten this one directly down to the nozzle block, and then we can start to put the leather around the outside.
So before we assemble the main pieces of the bellows, we want to assemble the valves. So on the originals, the leather pieces that make up the gasket were flat. Ours, we bunched up the leather and then nailed them really close together, so it creates a, well, like a gasket. Then we've also nailed on the very thin leather hinge. And then a keeper strap on the front, and that'll keep it from opening up all the way and then getting stuck on the inside.
So we're almost ready to put the leather on the outside, but this is a perfect opportunity to go back over what's happening on the inside of our bellows here. Now this level is stationary. And if you just let gravity happen, this bottom section will go down. And as it goes down, it'll actually pull air in through this valve. And when you pull up on that tailpiece, then it will force air up into this upper chamber, which is a little bigger. Force air up through this valve. And as soon as you let go again, then gravity from this top section will slowly push air out of this chamber and through our nozzle in the front. And as that's happening, of course, you've let off, and this is again pulling air in. So this double chambered bellows gives you a very constant airflow. think it's done. It's sealed up. We put all these little leather pieces over the top. Lots and lots of tacks. 1,000,000 tacks. Hold the leather down to the wood. Took a long time, but I think it's going to work out really well. We've suspended this set of bellows, so they can't set flat on the ground. The bottom can't set flat. You have to suspend that so that the bottom can drop down and fill with air. So let's go ahead and fill this chamber up with air. And there you go. You can see its work. And I've got a wonderful flow of air out the front here, out the tuyere. And if I restrict the air a little bit, I can almost stop it. And it'll definitely fill the chambers faster if I'm closing this up. So it's amazing. And as far as I can tell, we have almost no leaks. You know what? We need to try this with some fire. So we're gonna set this up, a temporary little setup by our fire pit back here, and see how it works with fire.
So these double chambers will produce a continual blast. You don't have to constantly pump it to keep the same amount of air going. The bottom chamber acts like a pump. It's pumping air up into the top chamber, and the air flow is regulated by the size of the nozzle and the weight on the top. So as long as you keep air in there, it will keep pumping the same amount of air.
The bellows are done and they are working great. I am so excited about how this project has turned out, and it's such a really neat thing to really be there for the assembly, from the starting out with an original antique set and then replicating them. The bellows, it powers the heart of a blacksmith shop. Now we can work on the other components. We're gonna need the fire pot right there, the hearth where the iron is heated. We're gonna need to put our anvils together. We're gonna need a vise spot and all the different tools for doing blacksmithing. Hey, keep joining us as we build this blacksmith shop. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching today.